สวัสดีค่ะ Good morning, teachers, distinguished guests, students, parents, friends, ladies and gentlemen. In the tradition of TED, I know that we usually get right into the speech, but I wanted to just take a moment to really thank the teachers and the organizers for giving me the opportunity and the reason to come back to my alma mater, my school, after 28 years. It's really a pleasure to be stepping back on this ground and to be sharing wisdom, which sounds very old, by the way. But yeah, I hope the little minutes that I'll be sharing with you today will inspire you on the lessons and the journeys that I've known. So yeah, 3 words: brave, kind, and wise. What does this mean? So as I was mentioning, exactly 28 years ago, I was sitting where you were sitting in this demonstration room where the chairs flipped up. And I was about to graduate. And in those times, we went through this incredible examination called the entrance exam, where one day we'll decide the journeys of your life. And you know how that works, right? 28 years ago. Entrance exam. Yeah, so you go through this fear about what I've done through my life would lead to this moment, and would the choices I've made be the right one, and would it make me happy? But I can certainly tell you this. In your life, you're going to be going through a lot of choices, a lot of paths, a lot of fork in the road. Because life is not a TikTok video. Life is actually like a very long Korean series. Life is actually a trilogy. Life is actually a very long novel with many twists and turns and many roads to take. But with each chapter, you learn something. And that's something that you have to embrace. But what I learned is that there's always 3 things that you should take with you throughout these journeys in your life. First one, courage. The courage to be brave. Oops. Is my mic still falling? These isomacs are always a little bit difficult to function. Am I okay? You're still with me? Okay. Courage to be brave. And courage to be brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means being able to face your fears, right? Being able to know that what you're going through doesn't feel right. And then exercising that courage, the courage to be changed. I'll tell you my first story. So, right after that entrance exam, that one exam that changed your life, I went into law school. 4 years of law school, 2 more years of master's school of law in the US. I went to a top 10 law school in the US. I don't know why I dropped that. I went to Northwestern. But actually, I just wanted to share with you that. So after Northwestern, I went into legal practice for another 5 years. And that was 10 years of legal experience. At the beginning, it was exciting enough. You know, I got to help people. I got to convey my points. I got to stand. I got to make speeches. But more on a paralegal terms, you know, it was on paper. So after a while, I felt that it didn't really quite fit me. But I was already invested in my legal practice for so long. So why was I ready to make that change? Because I think that in the end, life is about having the courage to know what is right for you and to know to move on when something is not right. That's real courage. My second lesson to you all is kindness to others. I learned this again when I made the second change in my career, was when I moved from being a lawyer into being in marketing and communications. It was very short-lived, this marketing and communication, but it was because I knew that I had a gift. I knew that I was a great storyteller. I knew that if I knew the story well, I was going to be able to tell the story in a way that others will understand. But however, after a while, you begin to realize that you might need change just because you need excitement. And that's when I hopped to HR, human resource. It might not sound the most glamorous or the most prestigious, but I can tell you that it could be very rewarding. In marketing, you tell stories. In HR, you listen to them. And that's when I learned, oh, by the way, I moved into HR right before COVID-19. Maybe you don't remember, but COVID-19 was the day when the world was under great certainties, and people put a lot of resemblance on leadership, on leading people through crisis. And that's when I learned that the best leaders are not the one with the brightest idea or the one that has the smartest grade on the paper, but they were the ones that listened. They were the ones that listened with their eyes, their ears, and their heart. Because then they would know that who is going to be helping them on this teamwork journey to pull us through. And I realized that the leaders who were the great listeners were the ones that people wanted to work with. They were the ones that the people wanted to talk to, and they were the ones that people were willing to walk along with. So take this with you. Kindness with empathy, listen with an open heart, will open doors for you and take you great places. And last, wisdom of knowing. Wisdom from knowing doesn't mean that you need to know everything, but it means that you need to have this consistent journey of wanting to learn, knowing that there is a world out there for you to learn, to explore, to be inspired, to be absorbed, and also to discover. Because when you have the knowledge, you will know what is right and wrong for you. And that's when you're able to make judgment on what will make you happy. I leave this picture up here. I don't know if we still have what we call หนังสือนอกเวลา English excerpts books, right? Those were back in the days. But this is one of my favorite books. It's Wizard of Oz. Maybe you know it by the formerly revamped story of Wicked. But it talks about this girl, Dorothy, this young woman rising. She was going through a journey and she met 3 males, the lion, the tin man, and the scarecrow, who wanted to have courage, who wanted to have a heart, and one who wanted to have a brain. Because each of them thought that with this one particular attributes, all their problem would be solved. But in the story, as the story goes, Dorothy discovered that the 3 attributes of courage to be brave, wisdom from knowledge, and kindness from the heart is really what got her through and what got her friends through. So girls, I leave you with this. As your journey goes through life, I hope you have the wisdom to know what is right and wrong for you. I hope you have the courage to take actions to change. And I hope you have the kindness and empathize and be there for your friends and your family and those that cares to take you along on your journey. And most importantly, the world doesn't need any copy. The world needs you. The brave, the kind, the beautiful you. Thanks, girls.